Can we tell who is going to become a great? Searching for modern auteurs. Why aren't modern artists esteemed on the same level as legendary greats? We need to remember that we're always living through history, and that includes art. If you study art, or if you're just a big fan, you know that there's always a group of greats, the best of the best. For painters, this may include people like Van Gogh or Monet, or the Renaissance artists such as Michelangelo. The greatest musicians may include names like David Bowie,
Ground control to Major Tom,
or Michael Jackson. Filmmaking is a much newer art, so you could expect that the greats are still forming, but many people have already made up their minds regarding who did it best. Now it's important to realize that these people are renowned and esteemed for a reason, and I in no way disagree that they're among the best. However, choosing a definitive list of the greatest writers, painters, directors, etc. closes the door to up-and-coming or other more modern artists who also deserve to be renowned. Modern auteurs. If you take a film class, it's more than likely you will learn about the auteur theory. The auteur theory states that a director can be called an auteur if their body of work can be linked through common themes and stylistic choices. Their impact on the film is meant to be deep and personal, thus making them the author of the film. Film students learn that auteurs are among the greatest, most respected directors, as their creative and personal impact on the film is what makes the film so great. The names that come up in most auteur discussions include Alfred Hitchcock.
Of course, the victim, or should I say victims, hadn't any conception as to the type of people they would be confronted with in this house.
Francis Ford Coppola.
I sat down and began to read the book very, very carefully.
And Stanley Kubrick, among others. And while these are all valid and deserving options, it does seem that the list hasn't been updated in quite some time. Years from now, are we going to continue teaching about the same people? Will we ever include newer names? We're always living through history and thus will be updating curriculums at some point, so why don't we start now? Being great without being straight, white, and male. The early stages of filmmaking came to be in a time when the only people who could make it as successful directors were straight, white men. This means that as we continue teaching that legendary filmmakers all came from decades ago, we're only teaching that straight, white men can be greats. If the film industry is making, admittedly small, strides towards diversity and inclusion, we need to start looking at up-and-coming artists that are deserving of the great title. Now this isn't a simple task. One look at Oscar ballots, let alone Oscar winners, will tell you everything you need to know about who gets respect in the industry. If industry professionals can't respect women, people of color, or queer artists, how can we expect the general public to? Those who know the industry best have a duty to find directors and other artists who deserve praise and acclaim and make sure they get it. If Oscar ballots stay white, straight, and male, then even if curriculums get updated with modern names, the lack of diversity will stay the same. What about television? Television is an even newer art form than film and gets even less respect. There are auteurs in television too. We just don't learn about them or give them the same respect as film directors. Adding television creators into the greatest of all time discussions should be an easy task. It's not like there's many pre-existing lists that would need to be edited or adjusted.
Nothing for you!
We just need to start including them. Recently, the Duffer Brothers have been getting respected as artists following the season 4 finale of Stranger Things, but who knows if this global acclaim will continue. Still, it's a step in the right direction in respecting television creators the way we respect film directors. Personally, I've always been a bigger television fan than a film fan.
The Duffers were rejected more than a dozen times by mainstream Hollywood before finally connecting with what they call their dream home.
If someone asks me about a favorite director, I'm more well-versed in television than features, but they're often not respected on the same level. Amy Sherman-Palladino, the creator of Gilmore Girls, has a very distinct directing style, full of walk-and-talks and long uncut takes, often reminiscent of theater. Still, she is rarely, if ever, included in conversations about directors. Vince Gilligan, creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, is undoubtedly an auteur. All of his work has similar themes and visually resemble one another. These series were and continue to be incredibly successful, reaching wide audiences and collecting dozens of awards. Still, this isn't enough to shoot Gilligan into greatest director talks. We're always living through history. Some may argue that older, more historic artists are respected as greats because they've had an impact on industry development and forming styles out of nothing. And it's true that many directors in early filmmaking were taking risks and innovating to create the types of films that we know today. They were exploring, paving the way for directors in years to come. So yes, they deserve respect for that, but that exploration and risk-taking isn't over. Modern directors are always compared to those who came before, often dismissed if their creative choices resemble another director's. We're living through history right now. As I say this and as you watch it, there's history happening all around us.
The most personal is the most creative.
그 말은 that quote was from our great Martin Scorsese.
Granted, recently it seems we would prefer less historic events, but this sense of history applies to art too. There are currently artists putting out groundbreaking media that isn't like anything we've seen before. Film and television are such vast and diverse fields, there's no way we're done taking strides. So we need to give these new artists the respect they deserve to ensure they continue breaking ground and continue to deliver great content.